Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if godlike dragon Naruto Sasuke can cancel bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by RightwardAbyss and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Escape and a Sage. Disclaimer, I don't own Naruto. This will be a godlike Naruto Hinata story. Also Whirlpool will come back with a vengeance as Naruto and Hinata will be driven out of Konoha. Pairing is kinda obvious. And Uchiha fans, I strongly suggest you don't read cause this will be a Sasuke bashing story too. So enjoy NN. 6 years after the Kyuubi attack. It has been a long, hard life so far for young Naruto Uzumaki. He has been beaten, malnourished, and constantly abused because of the idiotic villagers. Civilian and shinobi alike who can't get over their blind hatred for the fox. Yes, Naruto knew of his burden and how it all happened. How, you may ask? The Kyuubi himself told the boy. Naruto thought to himself as he was once again running for his life, balling his hand into a fist. Damn these idiots, why can't they see I'm not Kurama? Said Fox deep within the seal gave a heavy sigh of sorrow as he said to the child. Humans fear what they can't understand. They fear the unknown, so knowing I'm still among them sealed away in you they seek to kill you in an attempt to get to me. This Naruto the Kyuubi lets out a low deep growl at. Is one of the many reasons why I despise humanity. Naruto nodded his head agreeing with his Biju as he had to quickly use a garbage can as a makeshift shield to block an incoming barrage of kunai as he quickly dropped it and dashed for the gates. He thought to himself as he dodged kunai, fire jutsu, and took as much damage as he could in his flight. I'm tired of this hellhole. I can never achieve my dream in this place. To be Hokage ha. I probably won't be allowed to graduate because of their hate. I go to leave the village. Across town in the Hyuga Manor. The Hyuga Council had bid their time waiting for Hiashi to slip up just once. They despised Hinata as she dreamed of uniting the upper and lower branches into one family. The elders were happy with the way things are. The branch family underfoot and under control. So when Hiashi left with the Sandaime to Chunin exams in Suna, they timed their attacks on Hinata and the demon brat perfectly. They cleansed the main house of Hinata once and for all along with Konoha of the Kyuubi. But Hinata. Her day seemed to have gone so wrong. She was almost beaten unconscious by her father in their training session. Before he left to go with a third. And it seemed the honorable council finally decided to get rid of her. She was scared, very tired, and crying knowing they wanted to kill her clan wanted to kill her. With kunai in her forearm bleeding and in a good amount of pain, she dashed as fast as she could towards Kurenai's place. She thought to herself in a desperate attempt to flee. Kurenai-Nisan can't save me and we can go tell Hokage-sama about the attack. She tilted her head when she heard an explosion as she ran and thought in a sense of dread. Oh no. Not again. They're after Naruto-kun. She knew for some strange reason the entire village despised him, but never knew why. They always tried to kill him, and she would try her best to heal any wounds she could. So at the last minute she changed her path from Kurenai's apartment. Heading for the boy she knew was in danger to try and help him. She thought to herself as she ran, glancing back towards the path she left. I choose this path to protect Naruto-kun. If he ever wishes to leave the village, I will do all that I can to stand by him. Present time. Kurama was working overtime trying to keep Naruto going. He knew as well as Naruto that if they were caught the boy would surely die a gruesome death. His sense of smell picked up as he snapped his attention to the left, telling Naruto. Kid. It's Hinata, the poor girl's bleeding. She must be under attack too. Naruto gasped in shock and let out a demonic growl as he said to himself. The bastards. He looked around hoping, praying to anyone up there that was merciful. Please save Hinata-chan. But fate. As much as Naruto doesn't believe in it. Had other plans. As Naruto neared the gates he saw something that made his blood run cold as he heard the shout. 1. Kaiten, Kakakyu no Jutsu. A huge fireball came from one of the shinobi chasing Hinata. As it slammed into her back, she let out a blood-curdling scream as the flames enveloped her. Ah. She flew through the open gates of Konoha, crashing and tumbling down into the road as Naruto let loose a mighty roar of rage as he shouted in his mind. Kurama. I need your chakra. I think I have a plan to get us out of here from your memories of fighting dad. I need up to Atlas 2 Tails. Hurry. We got to save Hinata-chan. As Naruto dashed through the gates he felt his power grow as his features changing. His nails lengthening, his canines growing larger, and his whisker marks darkening. As a chakra cloak enveloped him. He heard screams of terror as he headed towards Hinata's unconscious form. Ah. The demon is coming out. Kill it, kill it. Kurama chuckled darkly as he heard their screams of terror. He thought to himself as the boy scooped up Hinata quickly and ran. I will relish in the day when the kid decides to burn this place to the ground for their sins. While Naruto was running he had to ask in curiosity. "So kid, what's the plan on getting us out of here? Cause two tails or not, you got a lot of power to use." Nodding, he said to him as the tails wrapped around Hinata, holding her in place. He gave her a small fraction of the fox's chakra to protect her from the burning of the Yauki tails. "I figured since hell, I am almost a demon, why not embrace that? And since your Yauki is flowing through my veins, I could open up that gate you told me about as to how you were dragged here to Konoha and make our escape through it." While Naruto grunted in pain, ignoring the famous shuriken he just received in his back. Kurama said with a slight grin. "That could work, kid. Let me take over and I'll get you and the girl someplace safe." Giving a quick nod, Naruto did as instructed, and as Kurama took over, he went through the necessary hand signs as he called out loudly, slamming his hands into the ground. 2. Demonic Heart, Hono no Mon. And startling their pursuers with the jutsu casted. They expected the demon to be now on the offensive. Instead, suddenly what looked like a portal lined with ancient runes and fire all around it as a skull of what appeared to be a demon hanged in the center suddenly appeared. Realization dawned on the leader of the group as he yelled out, trying to rally the others. "Quick. It's trying to escape, we must stop it before it's too late." Realizing their leader was right, they all went through the hand signs as they spat out a large Katen, Gakakyu no Jutsu towards their intended target to finally kill. With a grin on his face, Kurama Naruto jumped into the gate as it closed up tight, disappearing from the Konoha Inn. "Damn. It got away," said the leader of the pursuit squad to hunt down the two children. Meanwhile, on the other side of the gate. Somewhere unknown. Tumbling out of the gate as it closed behind them, falling to the ground was unconscious Naruto and Hinata. Naruto had never used that much of Kurama Yauki before, so now he was out like a light. As for Hinata. Thanks to the small donation of Yauki from Naruto. Slowly, ever so slowly, her wounds began to heal. Though she too was out cold. Approaching the pair of children was a well-built old man. He was a tall, pale-skinned man. Who had deep wrinkles for his age. He had spiky, shoulder-length pale red hair with a chin-length braid hanging in front of his left ear. He looked to have grown horns. But his eyes that stared down at the children were that of the mightiest of all Jutsu. The Rinnegan. He wore also a white full-length kimono with 6 black magatama around a high collar. On the back of the kimono was a large red Rinnegan-like marking with a pattern of 9 black magatama in 3 rows. Said man gave a hearty chuckle as he said to himself while lifting his hand up and using the forces of gravity to carry the children with him. "Like I told you, my dear Kurama, if you're ever in trouble, always come to me." Chapter 2. One Fist of Monkey. And training begins. With the third. Sarutobi Hiruzen was returning from Suna, happy with the way things had gone and a lot of promising chunin. He too was pleased with how the many Hyuga had advanced, proving that their clan was and always will be the strongest. As the group consisting of Anbu and the Hokujin clan had traveled deeper into Konoha Forest to reach their home. "Do you guys smell that?" Inu said as he started to look around, taking a few sniffs of the air. "I think it's a fire. And it's coming from Konoha." Now alarmed, the group rushed up into the trees as Sarutobi started directing orders. "Hiashi, use your Byakugan, I want to know how many are attacking the village. And Inu, prepare an ambush with the rest of you for the enemy." As they closed in on Konoha's gate, Hiashi said to the Hokage. "The village itself seems to be fine, Hokage-sama, it's just that apartment building seems to be on fire." A feeling of dread washed over the Kage as he asked. "Is it his?" With a single nod from the Hyuga, the old man poured on the power as he went through those old wooden gates of Konoha. Arriving on the scene, the group saw almost the entire village seemed to be celebrating something. Not to let their presence be known, they blended into the crowd as they heard the whispers of the citizens. "Finally. The demon brat's gone. Yes, those men and women are hero. Driving that monster out." As they drifted through the crowd, Hiashi saw some main branch Hyuga drinking. That had Hiashi very upset, a scowl on his face at their behavior. But what really clinched it was what he heard next. "So it finally happened. They drove out that little bitch Hinata," said one of the soon-to-be dead man. The other Hyuga was taking a big swing of his sake as he told the first guy. "Too bad we couldn't finish her off, that demon helped her get away." And with those statements, unbearable killer intent exploded from the crowd, and in fear the small crowd at the burning apartment turned to see a very pissed off Hokage and Hyuga head. He roared out loud. "Anbu, arrest these fucking fools. Any. Who resist, kill them." Terrified of the Anbu, the crowd scattered. Ninja and civilian alike running for their lives. Hiashi rushed forward and startling the 2 drunk Hyuga said coldly. "You scum are within the field of my division 8 trigrams 128 palms." And with the final blow, those 2 fell, dead at the clan head's feet. The Hokage was gathering up a search party as he turned to Inu saying. "Find them, Inu, call Pakin and bring them home." As Inu went about preparing his squad, the old monkey turned to Anko, who arrived on the scene with a dark smile, as he said to the captured group from the burning party. "It seems I've been too lenient, too forgiving to you foolish children, so as punishment, Anko. You and Ibiki will place them all in Kurenai's Favirite anti-pervert jutsu. 1. Jinjutsu, pervert's hell. Anko was grinding like a madwoman as she got closer and closer to the rope that would lead them to their fate. As the captive screamed very loudly knowing that infamous Jinjutsu the Hokage just mentioned, Anko said as she dragged them along. Kicking and screaming, "Oh you fuckers," really pissed the old man off. He rarely allows us to use Nichan's anti-pervert jutsu. Well, I'll find out what's up in just a few short blood-curdling, screaming minutes. Let's go. At the front gate. Kakashi had finished gathering his unit as he weaved through the hand signs before slamming his hand down into the ground. 2. Kuchiya's no jutsu. And in a poof of smoke a small dog appeared lifting his paw up in a high motion as it said. "Yo Kakashi, what do you need?" Kakashi said as he adjusted his gear before showing the little dog a pair of goggles. "Pakin, we need to find Naruto and fast. He was attacked while we were away along with a Hyuga girl." As soon as he said that, Pakin jumped up and slapped Kakashi upside the head before plopping back on the ground as he said in a bit of agitation. "I can't believe you and the old monkey left him here. You know how the villagers are." Kakashi hung his head a bit as Pakin continued to chew him out a few minutes before they were off. Following the trail a few hundred yards from the village before Pakin suddenly stopped. "Nani?" he said to himself as he looked back up at Kakashi telling him. "It's gone, their trail's just gone. I don't know how the kid did it, but he seemed to have opened a strange gate somehow. He could be between here and Iwa for all I know." The Anbu unit was now scared. No, not of Naruto using an unknown technique. But of what punishment the Hokage might give them for failing their mission. Kakashi got a cold chill as he said to the group. "Let's head back and pray it's not Kurenai's anti-pervert Jinjutsu. The Hokage so mad I do believe he may put us through that." Meanwhile with Naruto and Hinata. It had been a few days since they left Konoha and they were just coming around to consciousness. Hinata and Naruto smelled something really good as they woke up. They looked around and noticed they were in a very fancy temple. It looked almost like a palace, as Naruto said to Hinata stretching his back. "Hinata-chan, are you okay?" She finally could find her bearings as she saw her crush. She said getting out of bed. "I'm alright, Naruto-kun." Naruto smiled a foxy-like grin as he said taking her hand, which got Hinata blushing. "Let's go explore, Hinata-chan, and see where we are." With a nod while blushing, the two children wandered throughout the halls of the palace. As they passed by some people who appeared to be servant, all they kept telling the pair. "Naruto-sama, Hinata-sama, he is expecting you in the throne room." Very confused, Hinata whispered while they walked staying close to Naruto. "How do they know our names, Naruto-kun? And who do you think he is?" Naruto, seeing Hinata was scared, took her hand and squeezed it gently to reassure her she was safe, said. "I don't know, Hinata-chan, but I think we should head to the throne room and find out." "Throne room?" Opening the door ever so slightly, Naruto and Hinata poked their heads through the door to see old man at the throne. Said man smiled slightly as he sensed the two children, and with a come here motion of just one finger, Hinata and Naruto were in front of the man within seconds as he said with old man smile. "It's good to see you both made a full recovery. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and especially how my people know your names." Naruto and Hinata. Nodding, Naruto said as he stood defensively in front of Hinata. "Are you with those mean Kumo dudes who wanted to kidnap Hinata-chan that one time? I won't let you take her without a fight." Having a hearty laugh, the old man said with a smile. "My, what a fighting spirit, my boy. But no, I'm not with Kumo, young Jinchuriki." Naruto gasped in terror, his secret was out. And Hinata in shock as the old man continued as he said looking at Hinata. "Tile, do not fear young Naruto, he just houses one of my wayward children, he is not the beast, he just holds it." She relaxed a bit as he continued. "Naruto, I'm sure Kurama asleep from using the Hono no Mon to bring you here to 3. Gyozo Palace, so I will tell you. I am the sage of the 6 paths. My true name is 4. Saneramano." In awe that they were in front of the sage of the 6 paths, Naruto said out of curiosity. "Why are we here, Jiji-san?" Saneru told the pair of kids. "To put it simply, children. Your fates have been changed. Naruto, you were never meant to be cast out of Konoha. You were meant to endure the village's hatred and surpass it and grow in that village into the young man who could save this world." Looking at Hinata, he told her. "And you, my dear child. You were supposed to bring about a change to your clan as your father's successor. Uniting them in Konoha as well beside young Naruto-kun." Blushing heavily, the children looked at each other before the old man said with a soft smile. "But now since it seems Kami has other plans for you both. She and I both agreed that I can step in and train you both." Looking on at the man in shock, Naruto asked in shock. "Train me? But why? I'm not important. I'm a Jinchuriki, a being who hated. Why would Kami-sama want me to save this world, much less let you train me, Jiji?" Hinata stepped forward trying to calm her already frantic nerves as she asked in shock. "Why should I get training?" She lowers her head down a bit. "All my clan tells me is I'm destined to be a failure." The old man sighs before walking up to the children, putting his hands on their small shoulders as he tells them. You both have shared a hard, troubling life. Naruto, you lost your parents the day Kurama was forced to attack. And Hinata, you lost your mother to your clan's ways. For this Kami and I agree you both, despite the trials you have faced, show a kindness and strength this world so desperately needs. Letting that sink in a bit, he smiles as he tells them. So I, with Kami's permission, am allowed to train you to harness godlike abilities to change this world. It will be tough, it will be very hard on you both. Mind, body and spirit. But I ask you. Will you do it? With a fox-like grin after much thought, Naruto looks up with determination at the sage as he says seriously. If Kami-sama believe in me, Jiji, I will take the training. Believe it. Hinata was deep in thought. If Kami-sama has this much faith in me, if Naruto-kun is standing beside me, I know I can do this. Looking at the sage also with the same fire in her eyes like Naruto, she says. I will take the training, Jiji. I want to get stronger for myself and help Naruto-kun in all his works. With a big smile, Sunaru said to them. Alright Tomura, we begin your training. Chapter 3. Training from Hell. In Yozo Palace. We find Naruto and Hinata doing push-ups as they start the day with Sage Sunaru as they kept counting in Unaijin. 197,198,199,200 as the call up to catch their breath, Sunaru said with a smile. Excellent Naruto and Hinata, you both did very well for your first day's warm-up. After 200 push-ups, sit-ups and about 100 laps around the palace, I think it's now time to do some strikes against the training dummies. Groaning, Naruto went to his post and started his set of 100 strikes with each arm, and as Hinata stepped beside Naruto and slid into the Hyuga Earth-style gentle fist and began her strikes. After a while, Sunaru stopped Hinata with a hand on her should, saying. You can stop now, Hinata-chan, I can see why the Earth-style gentle is hard for you. Naruto, would you come over here for a sec? Sunaru called as said boy stopped his workout and lightly jogged over to Hinata's training dummy to the pair. Sunaru rummaged through his cloak before pulling out what looked like 2 cards as he held them to the children. Naruto, the ever-curious child, had to ask. Hey Jiji, what's the cards for? Chuckling, he told the kids. These cards, as you put it Naruto-kun, are what's known as chakra paper. It'll let me know what your elemental affinity is so it can tell me what I need to work on with you too. Naruto was hopping up and down, excited to learn what his elemental affinity was, while Hinata had to ask. How would you know what elements we have by that paper, Jiji? Naruto was curious too, but since Hinata was the smartest of the pair, he just sat back with a grin as he thought to himself. Hinata-chan so smart and cute, why didn't I think of asking that? Ignoring the obvious chuckle from his roommate at his denseness, he paid attention to Sunaru as he continued the lecture. You see, if you have fire, the paper will ignite and turn to ash. Wind, now that's a rare one. It'll split the paper in half. Lightning, the paper will wrinkle up. Earth, the paper will turn to earth and crumble away. And finally water, the paper will become wet. Awed by the explanation, Naruto asked excitedly. How can we find out what we are, Jiji? Is there like a magic word or something we tell the paper? Or something we can do? Laughing heartily, he told Naruto. All you have to do is put a small amount of chakra into your papers and it'll tell me what I need to know. Now go on, you two, let's see what you're made of. Focusing, Naruto scrunched his face hard in concentration as he applied a bare minimum of his chakra. And what happened made the sage smile. As the paper was shredded into tiny pieces and each piece seemed to burst into flames as he told Naruto. My boy, you are very strong with the wind and it's obvious where the fire came from. Chuckles, now let's see what Hinata-chan's element is. Turning to her, both boy and man looked patiently, leaning in and with a blush at being the center of attention. Hinata's paper, after channeling some chakra into it first, wrinkled up in her hand and then got so wet that it fell to the ground. With a big smile, the sage said to the girl. Oh my, it seems you two really are special. Hinata-chan, you got a high affinity for lightning and water. Smirking at the children as he stood up tall, saying. Now that I know what we need to do, by the time you leave this place, you both will be able to bend those elements to your will perfectly. As the children with new enthusiasm went back to their exercises elsewhere, Old Monkey was just not having a good day. Anaha headquarters. Sitting outside one of the cells of the apartment fire mob's prisoners. Anko was happily chewing on some dango when she heard the prisoner start to scream again in front of her. Ahhh. No. Not the butt, you snake bastard. Leave me alone. The demon deserved what he got. Ahhh. Help me. Someone help me. Smirking wickedly, she pressed one of her clean dango sticks to the intercom, saying in a sickly sweet voice to who was inside the room. I can make it all go away, all you have to do is tell me who else was involved in running out my little brother. That is, unless you like your buttfucker Orochi team, then by all means enjoy it. As the man continued to scream, the third came down the stairs to Anko with a heavy sigh as he asked. Anything yet, Anko-chan? I at least want to know who would wanted to hurt Naruto. Hiashi tells me he will deal with his council when he gathered enough evidence about Hinata being attacked as well. Anko shook her head as she told the old man. I'm sorry Gigi, I've tried. Me, Ibiki and Nichan have put most of these guys and gals through the ringer, but whoever ordered it they're taking it to their graves. With a heavy sigh he told her. Well, if they're not talking. Kill them, I don't want this trash in my village anymore. As Anko hopped of her stool and went to tell her co-workers the new order, Sarutobi headed back towards the surface of the Hokage Tower to battle the cage's greatest enemy. Paperwork. He thought to himself as he climbed those dreary steps silently. Minato, Kushina, I'm so sorry I've failed you and your son. I'm skip 1 month. It has been a month since their arrival at Yozo Palace and Naruto and Hinata were gradually getting training was basically from hell, each day he would either add more reps or laps. And eventually the sage added seal weights to their body to help with their endurance and stamina. But they each had at least one basic move they could do with their elements that they incorporated into their taijutsu. Yozo training ground. Hinata and Naruto were in a fierce taijutsu battle. Hinata jumped back from one of Naruto's kicks as she slammed her hands into the ground all the way up to her shoulders as she called out the name of her first jutsu, 1. Doten, Chikyu no Ken. She then pulled out of the ground what could be described as a strong stone armor with what looked like spikes on her fingertips. As she suddenly applied chakra feet, she ran as fast as she could towards Naruto. In the panic you could hear in Naruto's mind. Crap. 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 Hinata chants starting off with the big guns early. Chuckling at Naruto's misfortune, Kurama said to him. Kid, why not counter with 2? Kaiten, Ryu no Ken. The elements may be polar opposites. But it's better than letting your future mate kick your ass. Blushing up a storm he yelled back to Kurama. "Is she not my mate? We're just good friends, Baka Fox." Naruto, who started to run at Hinata, he started to shoot out a small fireball in front of him as he punched into it, using his wind chakra to protect his arm as the flames from the fireball started twisting and turning around his entire arm in the form of a dragon's head. As he called out, clashing with Hinata, hearing her attack as well. Kaiten, Ryu no Ken Doten, Chikyu no Ken. Boom. With a mighty explosion they both were catapulted from one another into the stone walls that surrounded the training ground. Ugh, what hit me? Naruto said with swirly eyes as Hinata was no better, she was out cold on her end. They both pulled themselves rather slowly out of the crater to see Sanero and some of the medical team smiling at the pair. He helped them each up as he said once they were sitting down being tended by the medics. I'm very impressed by you both. It's only been a month and you each have mastered the first of many things I have to teach you. Naruto and Hinata were grinning from ear to ear as Sanero said to Naruto. Naruto, have you ever heard of Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Chapter 4. Who let the fox out? I appreciate the fact some people call me on my spelling and pronunciations in my stories. But I ask you guys politely, if you see that, please just message me about it. Don't leave me comments in the reviews about it over and over. Thank you and on with the story. Underneath Konoha. Hidden deep within the twist and turning tunnels underneath the village of Konohagakure no Sato, in one of his more private rooms, sat a man who had always plotted to take over the village seat of Hokage. His name is Danzo Shimaru. A man who firmly believed that the true way to obtain peace was by total conquest. Not by the ways of his old sensei, the second Hokage. And so through many backroom dealings, assassinations of enemy shinobi, and even kidnapping promising children from villages across the elemental nations for his root Anbu. He had earned many titles throughout his shinobi career. Too, he is well known as the Shinobi no Yami, or as some call him, the Shinobi of Darkness. Others within his own village refer to him as Warhawk Danzo. We find Danzo growing more and more irritated at the fiasco of his plan to obtain the Kyuubi child. He thought to himself as he sat at his desk while reading the reports from his root Anbu, who were currently scouring the lands in search of the child. It was so simple even a child could understand. Those fools were supposed to chase the Kyuubi child as far away from Konoha as possible, out of Hirizen's reach, weakening the child by any means possible for capture. Instead they let him escape. I should have sent my root in to capture the boy. I must find him before that fool Hirizen does. Meanwhile with the third. It had been close to a month since Naruto and Hinata had been driven from Konoha. Every day as he came into his office he could swear to Kami that the portrait of Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, was scowling at him. As if he knew from the grave Sarutobi had failed in protecting his son. As he got to work on the bane of all the cage's existence, paperwork. He felt a familiar chakra signature from behind him near the window. Without looking up from his paperwork he asked the person with a bit of hope in his voice. Any word on their whereabouts, Jiraiya? The Toad Sage shook his head sadly as he said to his sensei. I'm sorry sensei, but there's no word about Naruto or the Hyuga heir anywhere. I looked from Kumo to Iwa with my spy network. It seems to me they've just disappeared from the face of the earth. Sighing he turned to his only remaining student who was loyal to the village and said to him. Keep looking Jiraiya, we have to find him. With a nod to his sensei, he was about ready to leave when he looked back at his sensei and said with determination in his eyes. If I find him, if he's in another village as their shinobi. Hell, even if he's joined up with Iwa, I don't care, sensei, I will honor my late student's last request and train Naruto to become a Kage. I've failed the boy once by not being there for him most of his life, it's time I make up for my past mistakes. I should have took him with me when he was born. And with that being said, the Toad Sage leapt of the window in search of his godson. Sarutobi looked at the windowsill as he thought to himself. I will also make up for my mistakes as well, Jiraiya, so please bring him home. In Yozo 1 year later. Naruto and Hinata had grown respectively well in their elemental manipulations. Hinata saw the advantage of adding earthbending to her skill set as a defensive means to work alongside her offensive water and lightning manipulation. Sparks had occasionally came off her afro-like hairstyle, as today she was practicing her lightning manipulation since it was storming outside. The servants chuckled at Hinata's funny hairdo as she sent a glare at them, making them scurry back indoors. She got back into the 1. Hoitatega no Suteru stances as lighting from the sky began to twist and turn all around the palace. To those who would never have seen such a thing before, it was a truly terrifying sight. The young Hyuga child seemed to be dancing with a grace like no other as the lightning encircled all around her like a mad mother cat protecting its kittens. Or angry lioness defending her cubs. Reason she chose the white tiger style as a way to manipulate electricity was because of 2 reasons. One was because she felt a need for a change. The tigers represented willpower, personal strength, and courage. She would grow to be a fierce lioness beside her fox boy, her crush. And reason 2 was because the style was fast and powerful strikes towards vital points in the body through either direct contact with the body or through the nervous system of the opponent. In which she can use the Raiten chakra she can generate to either fry organs to a well-burned crisp or basically electrocute a target until he or she was unconscious. Hinata thought to herself with a sweat drop as the static electricity from the constant use of Raiten chakra still had her hair in an afro shape. I need to see Scenario Jiji about this, I can't look like a fool in front of Naruto-kun when I use my Raiten chakra. She took a glance back towards the palace as she thought to herself with some worry. Please let this work, I don't want you to die from Kurama-sen's extraction. Flashback a few days ago. Naruto and Hinata were resting after a long sparring session with Scenario when Naruto had to ask the sage a question that had been nagging him. Hey Jiji, is there a way to get Kurama out of the seal without offing me? I know he innocent from attacking Konoha, so I think he deserves his freedom. Inside the seal, Kurama was wide awake when he heard that. He thought to himself as he listened to the conversation with some worry. Don't do anything rash, Naruto, I do want my freedom, but I don't want you to die for me. As Scenario was in deep thought, he finally voiced his opinion to the kids. Well, there is one way, Naruto-kun, I could give Kurama a new body with my yin-yang release and the all things of creation ability. Though it will have some unwanted side effects. Side effects? Hinata asked. What side effects, Jiji? Scenario looked at Hinata and said without missing a beat. For all I know, Hinata-chan, Kurama's Yaki would remain behind, turning Naruto into the new Kyuubi. Naruto didn't hesitate as he said with a smile. I'll do it for my friend, I want him to have his freedom. Present time. Deep within Yozo Castle, Naruto was laying down in a very complex seal array as Scenario stood above him going through a very long series of seals as he suddenly slammed his glowing hand onto Naruto's seal, calling out. 2. Sage View Injustu, Soul Release. And as he pulled his hand back from the seal, a glowing red ball with chains around it followed. He then activated the legendary Rinnegan in his eyes as he roared. 3. Sage Art, Creation of All Things, and as the red ball floated into the ground, it resurfaced slowly taking the form of a red-headed man. Chapter 5. The Legacy Revived. A few weeks later. It had been a total of 2 weeks since Naruto had Kurama released from the seal, and after that his training really went into high gear. For you see, there was some side effects from extracting Kurama. A vast majority of his Yaki remained in Naruto's chakra pathways, and without Kurama helping to regulate all that demonic Yaki, Naruto was turned into a half-demon. At first it terrified the boy. He had become what the villagers had feared, what he had feared he would be one day. But when Hinata hugged him tightly and said to him, "You are still you, Naruto-kun, no matter what," he had calmed down. So they trained with Kurama and Scenario throughout those 2 weeks and even longer. Naruto wanted to use his new demonic blood to get stronger. As he looked towards Hinata and the garden training with Scenario, he thought to himself as he looked at his claw-like hands before making a fist. I will get stronger, I have something very important to protect now. And so he took the training under Kurama head-on. The Ozo Palace entrance. As Scenario was looking through a portal back into the elemental nations, he sighed at what he saw. Bandits were destroying towns, shinobi were leaving here, homelands becoming missing in order to fulfill their basic desires for greed or power. He thought to himself as he started at the portal. Can Hinata and Naruto really change this world? Can they succeed where I have apparently failed in achieving peace to this world? As his thoughts drifted towards the children, he had to admit it to himself. They have grown remarkably well in their short time here. To be able to actually bend the elements to their will is no easy feat for any shinobi, much less these children. Could they be ready for their first kills? As Kurama walked beside his father figure, he asked. What troubles you, Pops? Is it about sending them back to that world? Tsuneru gave a deep sigh as he told his son. Yes, as much as I want to keep them here forever to hide them from the horrors of a shinobi's life, Naruto is needed in that world. It's Kami's will, he must either choose to save them all or destroy everything in his wake. There was a long silence when Kurama said. I believe when they both become 12 they can handle their first kills. I will accompany them back to the shinobi nations, and we can start the plans to rebuild Whirlpool Country. As Kurama was walking away, he turned his head back to his father saying. I know this is a bit cliché for a demon to say, but have faith in them, Pops, I'm sure they're going to be alright in the future. And just like that, in a small whirlwind of flames, Kurama was gone, off to train with the kids. 6 years later. It had been 12 years since they both were born, one from a noble clan who shunned her for her dream of uniting a broken, failing family. The other was born the day he was sacrificed to be seen as a hero. Instead, his former home now saw him as the monster he was never meant to be. Standing on the shoreline of the destroyed village of Yuzushiogakure no Sato, the village hidden by whirling tides, was Naruto, Hinata, Kurama and Tsuneru. He turned to his small group and said sadly but with a smile. This is where we part ways for now, children. I have long since had my time in this world. I leave you two a few gifts from me. Tsuneru went through a long series of hand signs before slamming both hands on the ground, calling out. Sage art, creation of all things. And with that being said, the group watched in awe as Yuzu was slowly being repaired. Buildings that had fallen were now standing tall again, the walls that once stood tall to defend the village from their enemies was now restored. Everything that was broken was now restored. The village was once again restored back to its original glory. Catching his breath, he smiled at the shocked children, saying. This is my first gift to you, Naruto. I cannot bring back your family who has long since passed away, but I can bring back their home. It is your job to fill these halls full of people and many memories, my boy. Naruto was truly at a loss for words. His family's legacy was right in front of him. Restored completely, and he was finally at home, his home. Hinata saw him trembling and gently took his hand into her own, squeezing it, saying to him. It's okay, Naruto-kun, we will make your family proud. Squeezing her hand back, he smiled softly, telling her. I know, Hinata-chan, we will, as long as you're by my side. I know I'll be alright. Standing quietly in the background, Kurama looked at the restored Whirlpool village and thought to himself as he looked at the children in front of him. Mito, Kushina, I know I have caused your family a lot of suffering, but I swear on my soul, I will make these kids into legends worthy of the Uzumaki name. As Tsuneru got their attention again, he pulled out 2 scrolls from his cloak and handed one each to Naruto and Hinata, saying. Now these are one-of-a-kind scrolls. Inside them is a seal matrix that will allow you to be reverse summoned to the chosen beast. Summoning world. He turned to Naruto, saying with a grin. Naruto, my boy, you have in your hands the door to ancient and powerful beasts known as dragons. It won't be easy to win over their trust, much less their summoning contract from the Dragon Clan, but when Kurama thinks you're ready, you can journey to their domain. I have faith in you, Naruto-kun, you'll win them over. Tsuneru now turned to Hinata and with a kind smile said. Hinata, you have the scroll of the Tiger Clan. They are ferocious, cunning and just plain tricky cats to get along with. But I believe they would be a remarkable ally once you prove yourself to earn their summoning contract. Hinata bowed to Tsuneru as he opened the portal back to Yozo Palace, his home dimension. He took one last look at the 3 he came to know as his own children before calling out to Kurama. Train them well, Kurama, I expect big things from these 2. With a nod from Kurama, Tsuneru walked through the portal and for now out of the children's lives. As the small group walked towards Whirlpool's tower, Naruto asked Kurama. Will we ever see Jiji again, Kurama? With a chuckle, he opened the door as the children walked past him, saying. Don't worry, I'm sure we will in the future. Meanwhile, I have a cage to make out of you 2 Gakis. With a cheeky grin from Naruto and a kind smile from Hinata, it was the start of Whirlpool's slow rise to power once again. Meanwhile in Konoha. The old man never felt more like giving up the hat than he did now. Ever since Naruto and Hinata's forced exile from the village by the ever so annoying villagers, the village itself seemed happier. The people cheered that the demon brat was finally gone and that their yondaime can finally rest in peace, knowing the demon was out of the village. Sarutobi took a glance from his mounds of paperwork towards the picture frame of his successor, shaking his head as he said to himself. If they only knew the truth, they'd beg me to find Naruto-kun and Hinata-chan. The village itself seemed to be in high spirits. But that was just the civilians, the shinobi and even the council knew better. They were worried, why you ask? Because they had no Jinchuriki in their village to protect them from the surrounding nations. If word got out that Konoha had lost the Kyubi, that would be like an open invitation for Iwa to come knocking on their doorstep. As he checked the clock, he noticed it was about time to head towards the mission hall for the day to give out the daily assignments to the genin squads. He thought to himself as he approached the mission hall doors. I hope Kakashi has taught the Uchiha better manners than the last time that Team 7 was here. Konoha's mission hall. Sarutobi walked into the room as Iruka got up from his chair, as well as the other chunin in the room, saying with a bow. Good morning Hokage-sama. Sarutobi had to smile. Iruka was a hard-working chunin who he saw a lot of Naruto in him in the man's youth. He now was an accomplished teacher, and this year's batch of new genin looked to be promising. As he sat down beside Iruka, he asked the man. So I take it today's been a slow morning. There seems to be quite a lot of D ranks today. Iruka chuckled to himself as he said. Yes sir, there are. I'm sure if Naruto was here he would be complaining about how boring these missions are. He would have made an excellent ninja. Nodding sadly at that, the third said. It's a shame really, because I know the boy could have done great things. I do miss the lad badly. He always made life so much brighter for this dreary village. As the third and Iruka were reminiscing about the blonde ball of sunshine, a dark emo cloud decided to rain on them today. Walking in with his team was none other than the duck-ass kid himself, Sasuke Uchiha. Along with his teammate Sakura Haruno, a bubblegum-haired Kunoichi, author does air quotes for that, and a pale-looking boy named Sai. Kakashi had his nose in that little orange book of heaven. The third wished so bad he had time to read himself. So he cleared his throat saying to newly minted genin squad. Good morning all, I'm sure that today's selection of D ranks would keep you busy for quite a while. Sasuke suddenly voiced his opinion about D ranked missions. I am an Uchiha and a lead among shinobi, why should I waste my time with these chores you call missions? And to add to the growing migraine, Pinky had to add her 2 cents screeching. Yay. Sasuke-kun deserves the proper respect. After pulling his pinky finger out of his ears, the third thought to himself in dismay. Naruto my boy, come home soon, take this dreadful hat away from me. With anime tears, the third sat there and endured the migraine that was Team 7 for the start of his day. Chapter 6. Journey to Wave. Yo readers, I was proofreading some of my chapters, and I was also pointed out I gave Hinata Earth-style attack. I goofed on that and can't fix it on my laptop. I will try and not make that mistake again. Other than that, thank you for all the reviews. NN. Whirlpool Country. It has been over a month since they had returned to the shinobi world. Since Naruto was not old enough yet to become Uzukage, Kurama had decided to run things in the village. It has been a slow month. People had came to Whirlpool to find a nice quiet life. At first, when the civilians found out what Naruto and Kurama were, a demon lord and a half-demon, they were terrified of the pair. But slowly over the short time they stayed in Whirlpool, the civilians got to know them as strong, kind leaders they can stand behind. So when bandits who thought raiding Whirlpool would be a good idea were met with the brutal might of Naruto, Hinata and the demon lord Kurama. Yes, their first kills were hard on them, especially Naruto, knowing that he is now a half-demon. Something Konoha feared he would become, but after a long talk with Kurama and the villagers of Whirlpool he understood. He may be a half-demon, but he swore to them all he would protect them, he would protect his home. Naruto for his part couldn't be happier as time had passed from the bandit raids, with Hinata by his side and Kurama taking care of his mother's homeland. Things in his life couldn't have gotten better. So when Kurama had called them to Yuzu Tower, he never expected the mission he and Hinata were handed. Konoha Mission Hall. Same time. The third can only stand so much of the Uchiha at one time. He thought to himself as he prepared for Team 7 to come to the mission hall. It's only been a month and that brat thinks he's Kami among men. If Naruto-kun was still here, this job wouldn't be so miserable. As he took a glance at the mission scrolls in front of Iruka, he saw a C-rank scroll in the pile. And with a smile he thought as Team 7 came in. This should get this team out of my hair for at least a month or two. Kakashi, without looking up from his orange book, said politely. Good morning Hokage-sama, Team 7 reporting for our daily missions. Smirking, the Sandaime thought to himself. Time to make this brat sweat a little for this C-rank scroll. So with that thought in mind he grabbed the clipboard on his desk and began reading. Today's missions are as followed for which Team 7 can accept. Walking the Inuzuka's dogs again. Painting the fence around my estate today. Babysitting for Mr. S. Aubryan again. And catch the fire daimyo's cat Tora today. No more of these useless D ranks. That lovely annoyance was from Sasuke Uchiha as he continued saying to the Hokage. I am an Uchiha and a lead among ninja of our village. I demand a mission worthy of my skills at once. Every adult in the room frowned at the disrespectful way the boy addressed the Hokage, but Iruka quickly hands the Hokage earplugs as Sakura screeched out. Cha. Sasuke-kun deserves the respect. We don't want to do D rank anymore. After Sakura's screeching and every chunin and jounin helped each other off the floor, Iruka snapped at the pair, yelling at them. How dare you two? Show Hokage-sama proper respect. You're fresh out of the academy genin. You need to do these D ranks like everyone else. There's no special treatment, not even for an Uchiha. Sasuke just brooded as usual, Sakura just held her head down in shame from the outburst, Sai was well Sai, and we all know what Kakashi was doing. So the third asked him. Do you think they're ready for a C rank, Kakashi? Kakashi looked up from his book at his team and closed it, looking at his Hokage, saying. Sir, I believe my team is capable of a low C rank, yes. But the victory smile and a chibi Hokage in his head dancing, he said to Iruka. Alright, if Kakashi thinks they're ready, please send in the client. In walked a civilian we all know quite well, as he told the team. I'm Tazuna, the super bridge builder. I expect you to guard me with your lives until my bridge is done. Whirlpool Tower. Naruto and Hinata smiled at the receptionist who Kurama hired as they both said. Good morning, Lily. She returned the smile to her two friends. She had once served the Uzumaki royal family before Whirlpool's destruction, so when rumors got around that Whirlpool has been rebuilt, she came back to help the new Uzukage. And finding out about Naruto and Hinata's past, she was more than glad to help the young Uzumaki bring his family's homeland back towards greatness. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan, Kurama Domo has a mission for you both, he will see you now. So as they walked into the office, seeing the demon lord smiling, he said, addressing the other person in the room. The person was a woman with long blue hair, wearing a short-sleeved oink shirt and a red collar. Naruto, Hinata, this young lady is named Tsunami. She has came to Whirlpool asking for assistance in dealing with a tyrant named Gato. Your mission is to escort her back to Wave and assassinate the shipping mogul Gato. I'm prioritizing this as A rank because of the possibility Gato may hire Rouge Ninja. The two of them gave a nod as they adjusted their Whirlpool headbands around their necks, saying to Kurama. Understood, Uzukage-sama, we will take this mission. In Whirlpool streets. People had said good morning to them, bowed slightly, showing respect to their two proctors. Their friends. Naruto said quietly to himself. This is how the fourth wanted me to be seen in Konoha. Hinata hearing this leaned in to kiss his cheek, saying as she took his hand. Naruto-kun, I'm sure the fourth would be very proud of you as well as Lady Kushina would be too. Smiling at her as he squeezed her hand gently while they walked getting closer to the village's gates, he said to Hinata. Thank you, my Haim, for that. So when they signed out of the village at the guard gate, Naruto opened Hono no Mon, that showed a lot of trees, as Naruto said to Tsunami. Mrs. Tsunami, this is as close to Wave as I can get us since I've never been there before. We will be inside the Fire Nation borders a little ways, can you guide us the rest of the way to our destination? As the small group walked through the gate as it shut closed behind them, inside the portal she said to Naruto with a smile. Yes, it's no trouble at all, you're helping our nation become free from Gato's terror, of course, I will guide you to my home. En route to Wave with Team 7. Kakashi was just not having a good day, he had an irate client who seemed to be nervous about something. What Kakashi couldn't put his finger on. And his genin were really making him reconsider for a reappliance for long-termed Anbu missions far away from the village. The Uchiha was a stuck-up brat, always asking for jutsu after jutsu to get stronger to kill his brother. And the Haruno is a fangirl. He thought to himself about that. Why, Kami-sama? Why did you give me a fangirl? What did I ever do to upset you, Kami? Up in the clouds. Kami was smiling as she said back down to the earth. Because you read that pervert smut in public, that's why Kakashi Suo enjoy the fangirl. Back with Team 7. As he took a glance up ahead, he sighed at the obvious puddle as he kept reading his book, saying to himself. I'm surrounded either by fangirls or idiots. Sasuke didn't seem to see the obvious trap, Sakura was fawning over the Uchiha, and Sai Danzo's drown seemed to be waiting for orders from him. So when they passed by the puddle, a chain suddenly shot out from the water and wrapped around Kakashi. As the chain started to tighten, two shinobi appeared out of the water. And with a hard tug of the chain, Kakashi was ripped to shreds, as one of the enemy ninjas said. One down, while his apparent brother finished the sentence saying. 3 to go. Sakura screamed as she saw Kakashi get ripped to shreds while Sasuke and Sai leapt into action. Sasuke threw a kunai, pinning the chain to a tree, while Sai was creating ink tigers to take on one of the brothers when he knew they would free themselves. Sure enough, the brothers snapped the chains, freeing themselves, as one said to the other. Kill the brats and get the bridge builder Gozu. Nodding to his brother Maizu, he dashed toward Sakura and Tazuna. Sakura was terrified, thinking to herself in fright. Sasuke-kun, please save me. Instead of Sasuke, it was Sai with one of the ink tigers holding the enemy by their throat before he signaled the tiger to kill the man. With a snap, the deed was done. Gozu? Your brats, I'll kill you. Maizu roared in rage as he forgot all about the duck-bitted Uchiha. He barreled down on Sai and Sakura when Kakashi suddenly appeared, cloths lining the enraged shinobi, knocking him out. He turned to his team with a eye smile, saying. Good job, team, you did an excellent job in your first actual fight. I'm proud of you. Turning to Tazuna, he let a civilian-level amount of killer intent aimed at the man as he turned serious, saying firmly. Please tell me, Tazuna-san, why are there Rouge Nin after you? You specifically requested a C rank for potential of bandits attacking you. But ninja involved now, this is beyond the scope of our original mission. I have every right to terminate our contract and heading home if you don't come clean. So after a nerve-wracking few minutes he told them about Gato and how poor even his nation's daimyo is dirt poor and a C rank was all he could afford. So after all was said and done, Kakashi turned to his team saying, "Well, I won't make this decision on my own, so what will it be, guys? We continue the mission or turn back?" Sasuke said smugly. "This Gato will fear the name Uchiha, I say we continue, Kakashi-sensei." Sakura was unsure what to say but didn't want to sound weak to her. Sasuke agreed to go on. And of course I agreed as well. So well they marched onto Wave Country. Kakashi just sighed saying, "This will be a long mission." Chapter 7. Meeting the Spider Seductress. Disclaimer, I don't own the character Gaia Rachn of the Spider Seductress clan. Only Zier Helsing does. At the border to Wave Country. The trip to Wave seemed to be quite dull for Naruto and Hinata. There were a few bandits here and there that they easily dispatched, but now since things seemed to be smooth sailing for the pair traveling with Tsunami. So once they reached the shoreline to Wave Country, Naruto said to Hinata as they rented a boat to cross the waters. "Man, I wish Gaia was here, she always seemed to be able to get the information we need about any type of mission." Nodding in agreement, Hinata replied back saying, "Well, that's what her clan is best at, Naruto-kun, information retrieval and assassination. I'm sure Kurama has his reasons for sending her up so far near Snow Country." Tsunami was curious who this Gaia person was. Asked the pair, "Pardon me being nosy, but who are you two talking about? Is this Gaia a friend of yours back in your village?" Chuckling at the memory, Naruto told Tsunami. "No, it's alright, her name is Gaia Rachn. Since we have time before we hit the shores of Wave Country, I'll tell you the story about how me and Hinata-chan here met Gaia and her clan." Flashback, a week after their return to the shinobi world. Naruto was literally spamming his shadow clones towards all four corners of the globe. It was Kurama's idea to have them supplied with enough nature chakra they could live longer than any normal clones. His reasoning was that they were gone from the shinobi world for a good number of years and that in order for Whirlpool to survive, they needed to know who's friendly and who's not and also try to find any clans that are willing to join up with them. So the horde of blondes scattered, each with a different henge, so that if by chance Konoha ninja saw them, the clones wouldn't be attacked by the stupid shinobi who wanted to get revenge on the Kyuubi child. Somewhere in Rice Country. One of Naruto's clones, who henged into a tall red-headed man in a black cloak, seemed to have stumbled upon a nearby bandit town. It seemed to be full of the lowest of the low that seemed to love the thrills of raping, stealing from the poor, and just killing for the fun of it. As the clone walked into a bar and ordered a drink, it decided to go fishing for some information about the area. "Bartender, know a place around here where I can get some work done?" As the man cleaned off the end of the bar where the clone was at, he told him. "It's not my place, but if you're interested, why not try to see if the Otakage has anything for you. He passes through here every now and again to see if there are any new promising men and women to join up with his village." Curious, the clone tried to press his luck further by asking. "There's a village way up here? I thought the Rice Daimyo couldn't fund a hidden village since this country is not as powerful as the Big Five." Shrugging, the barkeep said. "I really can't say, the village popped up about a year ago and ever since then it seems like all sorts of people come here, either looking for work or a piece of tail in raiding the smaller villages. That's what they see Odo as. A bandit's paradise." The clone knew some money he had borrowed from an unconscious group of thugs down the road a ways from this small outpost and paid the man for his drink before wandering the town. As it seemed like he couldn't get any solid leads on finding this hidden sound village, he saw a mob had began to form heading towards the outskirts of town. Wanting to see what was up, the clone tailed the mob a ways away from the small village towards what to him looked like a haunted mansion. The leader of the mob stood at the gates of the compound shouting out towards the mansion. "Come on out, you freaks, I'm sure Otakage-sama will pay us handsomely for turning you in." There it was again, someone mentioning Odo, but why would these villagers turn in their own people? This makes no sense. The clone thought to itself. He decided to watch from the shadows and see what happens. He glanced towards the mansion as the door suddenly opens. Coming out from inside was a group of beautiful women, and apparently their leader, a young woman who was dark-skinned with silver hair and piercing red eyes, as she addressed the mob. "Now why would idiots bother us at this late during the day? Our services aren't available during the weekend, so why don't you be good little boys and run on home?" As the woman was talking, spiders seemed to be crawling from within her coat and all over her body, same with the others, as the mob charged the women. Shockingly, it was a slaughter, as the clone thought to himself, watching the spiders devour the men of the mob, flesh being torn from bone as their screams echoed throughout the area. "Man, they seem awesome. I wonder if I can convince them to join Whirlpool. I just hope they won't feed me to their spiders." As if the clone said the magic words, a huge ass spider silently fell behind him on a web before shooting another one around the clone, tying him up and dragging him before the group of women. As the clone hit the ground with thud, the woman asked the clone. I see you enjoyed the show, so tell me, little fly, are you with my spider's lunch or just someone passing through? Quickly the clone told her about how Whirlpool was being reformed and how their leader could use a strong clan such as themselves, and explaining that they wouldn't be judged like Hira and Odo for their clan's symbiosis with the spiders. The spider woman took a glance back at her family before looking down at the bound clone and said, why don't you stick around for a while I debate your offer with my sisters? The giant spider then picked the clone up and began making a web in a bunch of trees before sticking the clone in the center of it as it crawled away. Sighing, the clone said to himself as he waited for them to come back. The things the boss makes us clones do, I'm surprised he is still sane from all the memories we transfer over to him after we die. Well, that's not my problem. All I can do now is wait. And so the clone waited and waited and waited some more. Several hours later, as he fell asleep, he suddenly was cut loose and fell to the ground. Thud. Oh! Cried out the clone as the woman said. We've come to the decision, we will follow you to Whirlpool. I need to protect my family. Whoever this Odakage is has been terrorizing our family ever since his village was formed. I need your word, little fly, that my siblings will be safe among the swirling tides. Getting up and brushing himself off, the clone said with a smile. 1. I'm not a fly, I'm Naruto Uzumaki of Whirlpool. And 2. I give you my word that your family will be safe within our village. My word is my nindo, my ninja way. All the girls seemed to smile at that, approving of the boy's answer as the silver-haired woman said with a grin. Until you prove to me, Naruto, how strong you are, I'll always call you little fly, little fly. And the name's Gaia Rachn, and you are in the presence of the Spider Seductors clan. Flashback ends. Chuckling at the reminder of the clone's memory of being hung on a web, he said to Tsunami. At first her clan was giving Whirlpool's people the cold shoulder. I think they just expected us to use them for their clan's abilities like most hidden villages do. But after a while Gaia and her clan came to accept us all as her family, and she liked the big sister me and Hinata-chan here never had. As they approached the shoreline of Wave County, the fog was unusually thick since Naruto sensed a lot of chakra in the air. He said to Hinata. Hinata-chan, can you see anything? Nodding, she seamlessly activated her Byakugan, said to Naruto and Tsunami. It seems like someone is fighting up ahead. I can detect 7 chakra signatures. 1 is civilian level, while 2 are high Jounin class, 3 Genin class chakra signatures, and about a mid to high Chunin level chakra signature not too far away from the battle. Turning to Tsunami, Naruto had to ask. Do you think your grandpa went to another hidden village while you were gone? Cause from what you told us, no one in Wave thinks they can stand up to Gato. Thinking about it, she tells him. It is possible that grandfather may have gone to Konoha for aid. Seeing both preteens sigh, she asked. Is there something the matter with Konoha? Hinata held Naruto's hand as she said to Tsunami. In a way, yes, that was our old home, and certain circumstances lead us being drove away from there. Let's just hope they put aside their hate for Naruto-kun in order for our villages to complete their missions. Not wanting to press the issue, Tsunami let it drop for now as Hinata asked Nero. What should we do, Naruto-kun? Should we call for backup from home since we're dealing with Konoha shinobi? Nodding as he told her. Yeah, I think that would be for the best. After we help the Konoha shinobi out and reach Tsunami's home, we need to send a messenger bird out to home and let Kurama know what the situation is. Hopefully by then Gaia or one of the others will available to assist us. Naruto said to Tsunami as they walked into the ever-thickening mist. Stay close, Tsunami-san, we need to help the Konohan in before we can get you home, Hinata-chan, and I suspect the people who are fighting are with your grandpa. Meanwhile, while that was going on in a hidden cave not touched by the shinobi world, a pair of red eyes opened and a deep but powerful voice said out into the darkness. At long last, someone worthy has found it. We may be able to bath in the sunlight once more. Instead of sleep in the darkness. Soon, very soon now. Chapter 8. Meeting the Leaf. When life changes to be harder. Change yourself to be stronger. Ezra, Fairy Tale. Zabuza vs Team 7. A deep sigh could be heard from inside Zabuza's water prison. Kakashi thought to himself as he saw Zabuza's water clones tearing through his team. If we survive this. 1. I'm going to train so this embarrassment never happens again. And 2. I will beg, plead and grovel to the old man to take the Uchiha and Haruno away. Zabuza sweat dropped as he asked Kakashi, getting him from his thoughts. Paddock, did you really even train these runts? That's academy tack they're using against my water clones. Surely by now, man, you would have at least got them on water walking. Sighing for what seemed like the 15th time today, he replied. I know it's embarrassing, but the council had me solely train the Uchiha. And Kami must hate me, she gave me a freaking fangirl. Their musing was cut short when the two Jounin sensed a large amount of wind and lightning chakra begin to gather in the area as they saw what appeared to be a young girl high in the sky. As the sky darkened and lightning began to crack across the sky. Startled, Zabuza said out loud. What the hell? Who has the reserves to channel this much chakra? Kakashi didn't know either, but his instincts told him to run like a bitch from Zabuza's current location. But Naruto and Hinata. Naruto used his wind chakra to lift Hinata high into the air as he said through the mental link Kurama had made for them. Let's show Konoha how Whirlpool's princess is the goddess of the sky, Hinata-chan. Giggling and a bit of a blush at being called a princess by Crush, she said with a smile. Alright Naruto-kun, I will use that attack. Naruto had a huge grin when he heard that. He looked ahead from his position at the soon-to-be fried Zabuza. Up in the sky with Hinata. Think from the Oh My Goddess movie when Erd does destructive booming thunder, which by the way I don't own Oh My Goddess. As the clouds darkened all around her, Hinata began as she started to go through the hand signs. O spirit of thunder, swift in the sky. You who makes the earth and air tremble with your voice. I your servant call upon your awesome power. Hinata lifts her hands above her head as a huge seal appears in the sky. Power that smashes, I call upon you now, become thunderbolts in my hand. The lightning storm seemed to intensify while on the ground Kakashi was frantically trying to break free from the water prison. Zabuza was scared shitless as he thought to himself. What in the hell? No human should be able to manipulate the elements on that scale. He broke the water prison and ran like hell for the lake's shore as he shouts into the forest. Haku. Let's get out of here. Hinata saw this and used her free hand to control the water on the lake. And like snakes the water all around Zabuza quickly clamped around his legs holding him in place as she glanced up at the seal and saw that the lighting had finished collecting around it. She shouts out and in a throwing motion with her hand towards Zabuza. Destructive booming thunder. Massive waves of lightning raced towards Zabuza's position as she heard the man frantically chanted shit. 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 And with a huge boom. A pillar of lightning shot high into the sky. Laying inside the now dry lake was a twitching Zabuza. He looked like a lump of coal. As a hunter nin appeared just as the two nin teams arrived in the crater. Kakashi was sweating bullets and repeatedly thanking Kami that he didn't get caught in the explosion. Sakura and Tazuna were scared shitless and the Uchiha looked at Hinata and Naruto with lust for their power. And Sai was well Sai. The hunter nin bowed politely and said in a clear female voice. I thank you for assistance, I have been tracking him for a long time and now I can take his body to be properly disposed of. As the hunter nin picked Zabuza's body up, Naruto walked up saying with a grin. No problem, here let me get the head for you while you can handle burning the body. Hinata-chan pretty much roasted his ass. As Naruto approached, his hand engulfed in flames. The hunter nin quickly did a hand sign and a sheet of ice appeared and the nin took Zabuza's body and dove into it. Drat. My bad Hinata-chan, they got away. Naruto called over to her as Kakashi, Tsunami, Tazuna and the others appeared as Kakashi said with a smile to the gathered group. Well, it seems we are now doing a joint mission. Team 7 Tsunami-san here went to the apparently re-established Whirlpool country to get aid when Tazuna did the same with us. Before Kakashi could continue, assertion duck decided now that danger had passed to Quack. He walked up to Hinata and said smugly. You're a strong woman, how about ditching this Whirlpool trash and slap. Hinata had hit Ducky to the ground as she said coldly, her Byakugan active. Please, I wouldn't dream of that, Uchiha. And I belong in Whirlpool, that is my home and always will be. Sasuke didn't hear that though as he took a glance at where Kakashi and that blonde kid were off to the side discussing something. This Hyuga bitch struck me. And Uchiha. I'll put her in her place. Ducky stood up from the ground and shouted as he went through hand signs. Right beneath my feet. Peyton, Kakakyu no Jutsu. A pretty good size fireball raced towards Hinata as a startled Kakashi yelled out. What the fuck are you doing, Uchiha? When Kakashi thought Hinata would be killed, Naruto appeared in front of the flaming fireball and opened his mouth, he seemed to be eating it. As the last bits of fire went into his bell with a cartoonish smoke cloud of Conan left his mouth, he said with a wicked grin. Now that's a spicy meatball, here Uchiha, you try one. Naruto shoots out of his mouth about a low-grade fireball at very high speed at Ducky. Once it impacted and exploded, Kakashi sighed as he asked. Naruto, I pray he not dead. Oh the hell, I would get back in the leaf. Chuckling, Naruto replied as Sakura ran over to her crush. Nope, wanted to kill him, but nope, I remember you sly old dog, I wouldn't want to give you or Gigi any more headaches than you already had. Sakura screeched as she yelled at Naruto. Why did you hurt my Sasuke-kun? Kakashi said sternly to Sakura. Enough. Sasuke attacked an ally with intent to kill Sakura. I'm very thankful Naruto-san here powered down his attack to just knock him out. He had every right to kill Sasuke for attacking his comrade. Sakura hung her head as Tsunami came out from hiding saying while she hugged her grandpa. I think it's been a long day for everyone, we should head to my father's house to rest. As Sai and Sakura carried the unconscious Ducky the group as they traveled further and further into the forest, spider webs seemed to stretch all around the area, all the while Hinata and Naruto were smiling as they approached Azuna's home. Standing at the door was Gaia. Naruto and Hinata dashed off to hug the older woman. She wrapped her arms around the pre-teens, bringing them in a hug saying with a smile. "It's good to see you two again." As the rest of the group appeared, Kakashi I smiled saying with a bow. "Why hello missus, I am Kakashi Haddock and these are my students of Squad 7 Sakura Haruno, Sai and Sasuke Uchiha." As the two conscious members of Team 7 bowed, Gaia returned the boy saying. "Hello Kanahan, I am Gaia Rachin of the Spider Seductors clan." Chapter 9. Gaia's training from hell. Sorry guys for the late updates on all my stories. Been sick. Anyhow, I won't update the Fox Meester until I get the other two stories up to chapter 11. Still accepting characters to add into my story NN. Izuna's house. As everyone, even a now conscious Uchiha, were now seated at the dinner table, Gaia asked Naruto and Hinata. "Since I didn't get all the details before I left home, can you two fill me in on what's happened?" She turns also to Kakashi and politely ask. "Also Haddock and I'd like your perspective on the situation as well." Ducky added his 2 cents by saying to Kakashi. "Why should we tell them anything? Like they could do anything, once this Gato knows an Uchiha is against him he will surely surrender to me." That's right. Sasuke is invincible. We don't need the creepy spider lady or her whirlpool brats. Glaring at his two students, Kakashi said sternly. "Reasons why I will share intel with her genin is because this is now a joint mission between two countries. It would be beneficial to each team because information in our line of work is a very powerful tool. And 2, in the event Gato or Zabuza attack us, we would have their support in protecting our client. So shut up both of you before I send a report back to Hokage-sama about your insubordination." The Uchiha just glared at Kakashi one last time before returning to his brooding, and Sakura just quieted down as Kakashi said with a eye smile to Gaia. "Now as I see it, thanks to Hinata-sen's technique, Zabuza may be down, but I'm praying he out." Hinata shook her head saying to the older ninja. "That was not a full-powered version I'm afraid." Shock clear on Kakashi's face he asked. "What do you mean that wasn't full power? That lightning jutsu I saw you use looked like it could level armies to dust." Giggling a bit, Hinata smiled saying to the scarecrow. "If I had used my full power I'm afraid Wave Country would have been completely annihilated. So me and Naruto-kun agreed to tone down our strength a bit. Besides I was hoping to immobilize him long enough to capture Zabuza. Oh well." Seeing a girl he knew from the past reports as shy, quiet and weak. Talk so casually about destroying a country unnerved him. Well, they talked about how to set up a defensive perimeter around Izuna's property. A young boy with spiky black hair and dark-colored eyes walked in. He was wearing a green jumpsuit with a yellow shirt and a simple pair of sandals with a blue and white striped hat on his head. Tsunami said to the boy. "Inari, why don't you welcome our guest, these ninja from Whirlpool and the Leaf Villages are here to help us." Snorting he said bluntly. "Just go home, mom, I'll be in my room." And the boy walked upstairs. Sighing, the older woman said to the group. "I apologize for Inari's behavior, ever since Gato's arrival we all have lost so much. And Inari's never been the same." Knowing when not to push things, Team Whirlpool dropped the matter as Gaia said to Naruto and Hinata. "Well, from what you two have told me, I think it's time for some more training. I'm sure the Yuzukage won't mind, since we both know you two can handle what I throw at you." Zabuza sounds like he will be up and running at about the end of the month, ears picking up at the sound of training, Sasuke asked. "Kakashi-sensei, will we be training also? What will you be teaching me?" Not looking up from his book he said to the boy. "With Gaia-sen's approval I was hoping tomorrow our two teams can have a spar so I can see what I need to work on with you, Sakura and Sai." Seeing an evil glint in Gaia's eyes, Naruto and Hinata backed away ever so slightly as Naruto whispered to Hinata. "We're going through hell tomorrow, aren't we?" With a nod to her crush as she took his hand, whispering back. "Yes we are, but I'll be right there with you, Naruto-kun," as she tortures us. Seeing them whispering, Gaia chuckled to herself as she leaned over to say to them. "Oh, you don't know the half of it, lovebirds. Now I suggest get to bed, now. Or I will double tomorrow's routing that you two love to call torture." As the two preteens shot out of their chairs and to their separate rooms, Gaia said to Herself with a light laugh. Even after all this time I still can put the fear of Kami into my two gakis." The next day. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and Naruto and Hinata were already up. They had prepared for Gaia's arrival by booby-trapping the door with a launching kunai pad, as Naruto said with a grin. "We will get her this time for sure, Hinata-chan, no more surprise attacks during the morning before training." Her Byakugan activated, she signaled Naruto. "Naruto-kun, she coming down the hall, we need to hide, go ahead with the plan." "Right, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Two Narutos appeared as one henge into Hinata and laid back down in bed. Naruto and Hinata slipped into the shadows as Gaia opened the door, kunai after kunai rained down on her, but when the preteens heard a poof sound, they started sweating bullets as Naruto said frantically. "Oh crap. She knew. Hinata-chan window, now. Crash. Shatter." As the preteens crashed through the window and ran into the night to prepare themselves for Gaia's training, Kakashi ran into the room Sharingan ablaze as he searched frantically for the attackers when he heard the glass of the window break. When he saw no one but heard a small laugh, he didn't move as Gaia came from the shadows saying to Kakashi. "Sorry about that, Haddock-san, it seems those two have learned from their past training with me to never let their guard down. I'll have their warm-ups done by the time morning comes and our two teams spar." As she fades away into the shadows, a cold chill went down Kakashi's spine as he said to himself before going back to bed. "I pray to Kami my sorry excuse for a team survives that woman, yay she a lot hotter than Anko, but man she 10x carrier too." 9 o'clock morning. Dragging their heels out of Tizuna's house was Team 7, Kakashi, and Sai appeared refreshed and ready for the day. Sakura on the other hand was busy combing her hair and using a full kunai's holster of hair care products, trying to freshen up. Well, Sasuke just glared at Team Whirlpool as he used a strange moose that had a duck as a logo. Kakashi walks over beside Gaia facing his genin team and apparently the super genin as he saw from Hinata, he thought to himself as he looked at Naruto. If Hinata was that strong and she was holding back by Kami, I'm scared of what kind of beast of a warrior Naruto is. Gaia stepped forward as a battered, slightly bruised and some sparks coming off Naruto twitched at the evil glint in their big sister figure's eyes as she addressed them. "Alright, since my team has done their warm-ups Kakashi, why don't you get them in gear while I set up the obstacle course?" But the nod as Gaia walked off, Kakashi said to his team without looking up from his book. "Okay guys, let's do 50 sit-ups, 50 push-ups, and give or take 150 punches and kicks against the tree line of the property." A look of terror was on Sakura's face as she screeched out. "Oh, I don't want to get dirty. I want to look hot and sexy for Sasuke-kun." Suddenly a spider landed on Sakura's head from the trees as it said to her. "My mistress doesn't want your loud screeching so early in the morning, Haruno-san, so please be quiet before she becomes angry. And do as your sensei tells you." Gaia-sama hates facing her younger siblings against weaklings. It upsets her greatly. "Hhh. Sasuke-kun, it's a spider. That crazy woman sent a spider after me." Sakura runs towards Sasuke in hopes he would help her, he was starting to back away when he tripped over a root. As he started to fall on his back, the spider jumped off Sakura's head and lightly kicked her making her fall over onto Sasuke kissing him. Black eyes wide in shock while green were filled with lust. And just before Sakura could continue her advances, Kakashi reluctantly pulled Sakura off saying. "As much as it would be amusing to watch you escape Sakura on your own Sasuke, I do believe it's time to spar with the Whirlpool team." Sasuke looked at Sakura with dread as she had hearts in her eyes. He thought to himself as he made his way towards the bridge. "I am doomed." Few minutes later at the bridge. Real quick here, think on DBZ, which I don't own by the way. That filler arc when Goku was wearing those red 8-ton weights. As Team 7 walked to the clearing under the bridge, Kakashi took note of the hundreds of shadow clones hidden in and around the area. He took a glance at his team and Sasuke had that eye twitch again for some reason. Strange enough, Sakura's jaw was on the floor and Sai well can't tell if he is shocked or not. He glanced up from his book and damn near dropped it at what he saw. Naruto and Hinata were using their perspective elements of lightning and wind as they were running up through what looked like a colossal spider web, wearing red objects on their arms and legs. After a few minutes, Kakashi collected himself as he walked beside the incredibly hot and dangerous woman saying casually. "So this is your obstacle course, if my guess is correct, how much are they wearing at the moment?" At lightning fast speeds only Kakashi and Gaia could follow, Naruto and Hinata were trading blow after blow as they scaled higher into the web. Lightning flashed across the sky while the winds raged around the area as Gaia said to him. "Oh, about 2 tons on each weight, so a total of 8 tons apiece for both of them." Sweating a bit, a scared Sakura asked. Lady Gaia, do we have to do that?" But the smile as nice as can be but an aura of death and despair around her, she said to Team 7. "Oh yes my dear, you will. Welcome to my training ground Leaf Nin, I call it the spider's gauntlet." She turns to Kakashi asking. "So Hakik-san, do they know Atlas the tree climbing exercise?" Looking at his team and looking at what appeared to be a jounin-like spar on the web, he sighed before telling her. "I'm afraid I haven't got to that yet, Gaia-san. You see, before this mission I was working on my team's formations and drilled them on teamwork exercises." Sighing, she said as she started walking away. "You had a Karabaka. Something so simple as the tree walking exercise and your team doesn't know it," but she continues saying seductively as she walks away with a swing in her hips. "And here I thought I found a real man, a tough shinobi that can handle all the twists and turns on the road of life." As she walked up the web to Naruto and Hinata. Kakashi had to resist hard a massive nosebleed as he put his book away saying to his team. 3. Kunai, Chakra, now. Chapter 10. The Spar. Hinata vs Banshee. Real quick, I want to point also next chapter is Naruto vs Sai and Sasuke. Go to make you wait a little longer. And to those who haven't figured out a few chapters back who was in that cave, it was a dragon, one we all know very well. I haven't been screaming all these years, maybe this life is overrated, but I won't let the world burn around me. Blue Exorcist, Rin. Wave, Spider's Gauntlet. Thud. 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 3 thuds could be heard as Team 7 finally ate 4 hours of training from Kakashi via Nindogs shooting fireballs at them. They had completed the tree climbing exercise as Sakura groaned out. "Oh Sasuke, please make the pain stop." Ignoring his teammate Imfeta's sigh said in a neutral tone. "Sakura-sen, I don't think less here will help you." Sakura glared at Sai saying. "You're lucky Baka, I'm too tired or I'd hit you for that." Boof Kakashi appeared with a eye smile saying to his team. "Ah good, you completed the exercise. Now after our break just before we turn in for the night we will spar with the Whirlpool team." Sasuke smirked as he said smugly while taking a swing of his bottle of water. "The Haga and the Dope will not win against an Uchiha. Easy victory." Sakura would have agreed with him, but she fell asleep face down in the ground snoring loudly. 1 hour and some chakra pills later. Aya looked over her shoulder when she saw Team 7 as she said politely. "Ah Kakashi, I wasn't expecting you back so soon, have these flies learned the tree walking exercise yet?" Eye smiling he said to her. "Yes, my team has it down and we're ready to face you guys in the spar." An evil glint appeared in Gaia's eyes as she said with no restraint of glee. "Oh good, now let me see what the leaf can do." She applied chakra to her feet as she jumped high in the air and onto the web as Sakura shuddered saying to Kakashi. "Do we really have to fight on that web? Spiders are gross Kakashi-sensei." Sighing he told her. "It's Gaia-san's training course, we should count ourselves very lucky Sakura. You see this woman from what I've heard is incredibly powerful and her training methods brutal. If she willing to get us to a level we need to be at to beat Zabuza and his partner, despite us being from a different village, we should be grateful." Sighing Sakura mumbled. "I don't want to get strong, I just want to stay pretty for Sasuke so he can love me and marry me and I can have his kids." Face palming himself Kakashi said to himself as Gaia and the others walk up. "Kami, you really must hate me, don't you? A fangirl, a freaking fangirl." Giggling a bit Gaia said to him. "As funny as this is Haddock, I think we should get started. Sakura and Hinata, please come first." Nodding, both girls walked over to the edge of the course as Gaia said, getting their attention. "Now the rules of this spar are simple. It's my own version of capture the flag really." Team 7 face faulted in the ground as Sasuke shouts out in annoyance. "A kiddie game, that's how we're going to train, it's ridiculous. I'm an Uchiha, I will not stoop to such childish behavior." Splat. A spiderweb covered Sasuke's mouth as Gaia continued. "If you would shut your trap Uchiha and watch, you would see the point of this besides a simple game. Sakura and Hinata will have to fight all the way to the end of my course and get the flag and make it back to me. By using chakra to climb that increases your chakra reserves, and by fighting against an opponent you can learn in a safe environment how to accomplish a mission objective and dealing with enemy nin." Aya finishes her lecture as she pulls out a stopwatch. "You may begin when ready girls." And like a shot both girls went up the web. Sakura was dragging behind quite a bit as Hinata had an evil thought. "Well Haruno-san, it's time you learned a few lessons about being a kunoichi." Hinata turned and stood facing Sakura as she went through some hand signs calling out. 1. Suiton, water gun. The low-grade steam of water barreled down toward Sakura as she screams out. "What the hell?" Splash. Sakura got soaked as she yells down to Gaia. "She cheated. She used a jutsu. That's not fair." Gaia turned to Kakashi giving him a flat look saying. "Is she serious? She calling Hinata on cheating? We're ninja, we lie, cheat, steal, kill, hell even my clan seduces men to get the mission done. Has Konoha fallen so bad that this is your kunoichi?" Sighing Kakashi says with some embarrassment. "I'm afraid so, ever since Minato-sensei died sealing off the Kyuubi in Naruto, the civilians have had more control over Konoha than they should and Sakura is the end result of their meddling in shinobi business." Thud. Sakura lost control of her chakra as she fell of the web and lands hard on her ass as Hinata said to Naruto gathering a little bit of courage. "Naruto-kun, who the better kunoichi? You know the answer, don't you?" She swayed her hips a bit as she walked casually up the web. Back on the ground, a red-faced Naruto had to say. "Damn, that's hot." Before he falls over fainting as Kakashi chuckles to himself thinking. Just like his father, all he needs is to dye Hinata's hair and she will grow to be the spitting image of Kushina. Coming from his thoughts he tells Sakura. "I'd get back up there Sakura." Hinata has almost reached the flag. Collecting herself she runs back up the gauntlet as Gaia walks over to her unconscious Naruto saying to herself. "My, even you can fall for a woman's charm, go to remember to tell Kurama-sama to let me take Hinata in to train in the finer arts of being a woman." She licks her lips slightly smiling at the boy. "Then you can really know how a woman's supposed to be Naruto-kun, I'll teach Hinata-chan all I know." Sakura was not having a good day. First she woke up at this ungodly hour, then she couldn't get her hair straight to look sexy for Sauce-kun, and now as she thought to herself. This Hyuga slut has got me all wet in front of Sauce-kun, how humiliating. I must get that flag. Digging deep, Sakura ran as fast as she could to catch up to Hinata. With Hinata. She saw from the distance Sakura making her way towards the flag. She leaned against it saying to Sakura as she got closer. Well, I'm actually impressed, Haruno-sen, I didn't think you'd make it. Huffing and gasping for some air, Sakura said, glaring at Hinata. Why will pa why for tth ad, you're liar. She took a kunai from her pouch and lunged towards Hinata, who in turn sighed before seamlessly activating her Byakugan, saying. Rule 1 Haruno, close range with me is unwise. Suiton, Haki Rakujian show. Apparently Sakura forgot she was up against a Hyuga as 2 palm strikes of a water juken to her shoulder, then 4 to her stomach, then another 6 to her other arm, numbing them both. Then Hinata stuck her chest area, sending her back as she lunged forward, striking again and again until she hit 64 palm strikes. As Sakura tumbled to the ground, Kakashi jumped up, catching her as he asked Hinata, who had the flag on the ground floor. I know about the juken from the Hyuga back home, but to add the Suiton element to the gentle fist is something else. I could see you held back quite a bit of power in those strikes. Smiling, Hinata said as she handed Gaia the flag. Why yes, I did, Haddock-san. I figured she needed to remember brains don't always make a kunoichi. Hinata looks past the adults at the still unconscious Naruto and asked. Gaia Onisan, why is Naruto-kun passed out? And why is he red? Both Kakashi and Gaia had to laugh a bit at that as Gaia said. My Hinata-chan, don't you remember? You showed Naruto just who the better kunoichi is of the group. Suddenly it came back to her as Hinata's face went red and she faints as Gaia caught her, saying with a soft smile to Kakashi. They're made for each other, aren't they? Kakashi just eye smiles as he says to the woman. Yeah, I guess they are. I do hope they treasure these times together like this. Moments like this are something to cherish for a lifetime. As Gaia leaned Hinata against a tree, she says, looking at the boys with a smirk as Naruto began to stir. Now let me see who is the better shinobi. What if godlike dragon Naruto Sasuke can counsel bashing, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys next video.